to me, it's kind of a little bit scary, as I have kids that are college age.
AI is not going to put accountants out of business. AI is going to put accountants that don't learn how to use AI out of business.
Right. Welcome everybody to the 1912 Capitals podcast, Deal by Deal. I am here with Damon and Court. Let's dive right in and talk about tech. How do you guys use tech in your business?
Well, we have lots of different technologies that we use for actually all sides of our business, from managing just software. Software primarily, obviously, is the biggest thing. Some AI too. And then mostly we use it for probably making our lives easier, right? Like everybody does, to try to simplify and keep things organized and specific for what it's for.
Yeah, so let's jump in and talk about specifically how we underwrite our deals, because I think that's really the heart of what we do, and the heart of making sure that we're making good, safe investments is in our underwriting. And so we found a really great technology that does use AI, and we've been using it for about 1.5 years. And what it does is it allows us to take a look at a specific property and what it's worth today and what it will be worth after an investor goes in and does the rehab. And so the way that it does that is it pulls all the comps in the area that have sold over the last 6 months to a year, and you can obviously manipulate it to be exactly what you want. And it shows you what they sold, and then it categorizes those properties to say, this one was, needed to be completely gutted, and so that's why it sold for this. This one was already completely redone, and so that's why it sold for this. And you are able to go in and look at those properties and see all the photos and get all the descriptions, and you can actually help it categorize them. And then it'll tell you, okay, if your investor goes in and they put in, $10,000 and just do a very bare minimum, this is what it'll be worth. If they go and they do, everything soup to nuts and it's a brand new house, this is what it will be worth. And so then we're able to go in and talk to our borrowers and have a really intelligent conversation about how what are you doing? What are your plans for the property? How much money are you going to be putting in? And we know exactly what that property will be worth, what it's worth today as it currently sits. And so we can tell them exactly how much money we'll lend on it. And it's amazing, this technology just continues to get better and better. In fact, it's now being used to check appraisers. When an appraiser will go out and appraise a property, they'll actually now take that and run it through this program to see whether or not the appraisal is correct. So it's really become kind of the gold standard in the industry, and it's allowed us to be able to have not only confident underwriting, but do it in a very quick fashion because of the AI technology that it uses. And so we can look at a property and within an hour have a really good, solid idea of exactly what that property is worth and what it will be worth.
So break down how these programs help protect your investors. I mean, you kind of just went through a lot of it, but break it down for those of us who maybe don't understand it as much.
Well, I was going to say that, as he mentioned, that the key for us is to protect the investment, right? And to have quality underwriting. Interestingly, like he mentioned, the banks that we're working with that have a large line of credit to us that we borrow from accept this software's number as equal to an appraiser, or better maybe even. And second one that we use that I think, same idea. The main idea is how do we protect investors' money, right? And so that's one way, is by underwriting well up front. The second one we use is as we go through the process with our borrowers, they do draws, is what we call them, where they're taking money from us, basically, for construction as they complete it. And we use another type of software for that then goes and really uses that technology to be sure that the draw process is accurate and correct. And one of those is geofencing, where it will actually target with the photos or videos that they send us that it is the actual house that they're claiming it is. So,
and even further, where in the house they're taking the photos, which direction they're looking. So they can't just take a picture of the same room over and over again and say, this is every room in the house. No, they have to actually, you can watch them walk through the house through geofencing. So it's really great.
It's pretty cool. And they have had people, try to get around it, where they, say, we added insulation in the attic. And then they'll send photos that is from a house 2 streets down that they actually added the insulation in the attic. And the software caught them and said, actually, your photo location is not accurate.
So it's a couple miles away there.
It's pretty amazing technology.
Wow, that's really cool. So this is protecting you guys, it's protecting the investment, and I'm sure it's protecting the buyers as well, because they want to know that these things are done properly and done well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's everybody. And it keeps people honest too, right? So it's great. Another one that we use would be kind of on the flip side, where we're trying to use it for finding new borrowers. We have software we can use that goes and searches through databases, basically, and we can track and search closings and who's actually doing borrowing, who's flipping, and it's been useful for us to help expand our business from that side.
Well, and it also on the front end helps us when we're underwriting these deals, because now we know we can take a look at the borrower and see, hey, do these guys already have 10 deals that they're working on right now? Do they have capacity to be able to do this? They told us that they've done 25 of these, but we can see that they've only done 3, right? So it really helps us to keep our borrowers honest. And not that we think our borrowers are dishonest, but we just always have to double check and make sure. So it allows us to dig deeper without having to just take their word for it.
No, totally. Speak a little bit to using this AI, but as a business and to owners who independently have a lot of back knowledge on this. Do you go in and double check things through this AI? Do you ever find that you need to do that, or have you worked with it enough now that you trust it?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Basically, all AI I use, I try to double check in any form. So some of these softwares we trust as the gold standard, but we still do use other softwares to back it up. And or in person, that's the other thing. Is there an in-person person that's available? Northwest Arkansas, as we talked about, we have boots on the ground. Kansas City, boots on the ground. Places that we're at, we do have people go and verify too that what we're seeing and what it's putting out is accurate.
Yes.
Yeah, and we will still do our own on-site checks, as Court mentioned, or video. We'll do live video, like a Zoom call with our borrowers sometimes. Hey, let's just walk through the property, so we can stop them and ask them questions, along the way. And yeah, even though we are becoming more and more trusting of AI, I think just in general.
Yeah.
We still are. You still have to go through and make sure that everything is correct and that it's not, didn't spit out something wrong, or
Totally.
we always go through it 3 or 4 times.
So AI is for more than just polishing an email then.
Yeah, it's amazing the ways that it's spreading fast. To me, it's kind of a little bit scary. As I have kids that are college age, I wonder. I'm like, hey, what industry will you be able to do that AI will not
Won't
have
have
an
taken
impact?
over. Yeah.
Probably no industry, right?
Yeah.
0, yeah.
But how can you frame your future with that in mind? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing a story of an accounting conference like a couple of years ago when AI was just first becoming more and more mainstream, and these accountants were all talking about how AI was going to put them out of business. And the speaker stood up and said, AI is not going to put accountants out of business. AI is going to put accountants that don't learn how to use AI out of business.
Right.
And I think that's really what it boils down to. It's a tool like anything else. You have to know how to use it. You have to know how to where it's right, where it's wrong, what it can do for you, what it can't do for you.
Yeah.
It's amazing. People are pushing back on marketing, let's say, that is complete, is 100% AI generated, because you can tell. It just doesn't have that human feel. And so I think that this idea that AI is going to come in and just take over all these industries, in my mind, I'm not worried about that. I think you gotta know how to use it. But I do think it's going to make things much more efficient than they have been in the past, and we already are seeing that. So.
Yeah, most people probably know, but I'm a physician also, so it's interesting from an AI in medicine standpoint as to how it's getting used. I was reading a study this week about how they think that AI will be able to detect cancer through your voice within 3 to 5 years.
Through your voice.
Isn't that crazy? I mean,
that's
so that's the kind of technology that's coming. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, who knows if that'll be true or where it's
Right.
at, but it makes sense if you think about it, because your larynx is controlled, by strength and ability to talk and chat, and it will change over time very subtly where you wouldn't notice it.
Wow.
But AI can amplify and utilize such incredible technology that they may be able to detect cancer just through voice recordings in the future.
That's crazy.
Well, think about that as a perfect example of how AI is going to enhance an industry but not take away from it, right? So if you're a physician and you can use AI to detect cancer in your patients earlier, then you can focus on just treating your patients, right? And not having to spend all of that time diagnosing up front.
Right, right. And I'm actually giving a talk on AI in medicine, specifically on the administrative side in the fall, which is interesting to me because I think of that, like you're saying, if we could remove 80% of administrative part of medicine, oh, it's heaven, right?
Yeah,
like we'll
absolutely.
pass that off happily to the computer.
Exactly.
So,
but
and I
you
think
still
that's going to
need
be
a human touch in some way.
AI
Exactly.
can't do the treatment.
No.
Right.
But if it could help me predict, when my staff is going to have a baby and I'm going to have to staff for that person. You know what I mean? All that stuff that will be so useful.
Hopefully you can figure that. I mean, most of the time,
Well, 3 years
a
out.
pregnancy is
3 years out.
usually about that same time frame. So if you're struggling with that,
Maybe that
Again,
one we don't need AI quite
It's
yet.
predicting. It's not guaranteeing it.
That is so funny.
No,
So-
it's interesting.
So tell me more about how you two use AI on a day-to-day basis. We talked about several different things. Is there any other touch point for you with tech? Maybe something that's not AI. Are there any other technologies that you utilize that aren't necessarily AI?
yeah, certainly we have our loan servicing and origination
Core
software that we
software.
use
Okay.
that manages all of our loans. Tells us it's what we use to do all of our payments to our investors, all of our payments to from our borrowers, track the spend on the draws, all that kind of stuff. And that's really great. And that's, makes life so much easier. When we started, we were on spreadsheets, and this just automates everything for us. And so that's really fantastic.
Yeah.
We do use AI. Before we close a deal, we always get a title report. We always run that through AI just to say, hey, is there anything in here that we missed that we should be thinking of? That sort of thing. So we use it kind of as backup for that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
And-
interesting that we had a discussion last week or 2 weeks ago with the basically executives from this software that he's talking about. That's our primary, and they are still looking at how they can use AI to improve their own softwares, right? And how they
Wow.
can use it to integrate, because that's what we were complaining about a few things that we don't like with the software, and
Yeah.
we're paying a large amount of money. We're like, hey, are you going to fix these
Yeah.
things? And that's one of them is, how can all these different things integrate? And I think AI can facilitate some of that.
Right, and I think that's really the next evolution for us is how can we take this information and using AI, use it to connect all these different softwares, right? So we take the information, we enter it one time, and it goes through our underwriting process, and it gets put into our loan servicing software, and goes through all these different checks for us without us having to go in and use each one individually. And so we're excited about that, and just being able to use it, as we are able to take the data from all the loans that we've done to predict, a loan this size.
Will close when.
We'll
Oh,
take,
okay.
this should take this long to do the rehab, and it should, typically this one should be
And borrower A
refinancing.
takes this long,
Yeah.
borrower B takes this
Yeah,
long.
Gotcha.
exactly. So we're really just using some more predictive analytics and really get smarter about our borrowers. So those are the types of things that we're really trying to gear up for and look towards the future for. So.
Yeah, it's been amazing though. I mean, we couldn't do it without software, AI,
Yeah.
in general. And day-to-day use, it's interesting. I mean, it's definitely something that, 3 years ago, I wasn't using AI at all.
No.
And
No,
now I
think
use
a
it
lot of us weren't.
every day.
And it just speeds everything up. It's just instantaneous.
That's what it is. It's time. It's a time saver.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as private lenders, how does AI help you avoid problems or pitfalls or things like that?
Oh, that's a great question. We use it a lot of different ways.
Yeah,
Go
so
through
I
our
mean,
list.
on the front end, obviously, we're able to take a borrower and go look not only and see their experience like we talked about earlier, but have they had deals go bad? We can see that, if they've had foreclosures, even if they've had notices of default, and we automatically know this is a borrower that we don't want to deal with. I was amazed the other day. We had a borrower that came to us, said all the right words, had all the great experience, knew everything to say to make us feel comfortable. And then we looked him up, and he had like 16 deals go bad. And it's like, what?
My gosh.
Why? I don't even know why the guy was trying to still get a deal in general, but obviously that was somebody we didn't want to deal with. And so
Yes.
using that technology really helped us in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But it also helps us, we talked about this also, AI just speeds everything up.
Mm-hmm.
And our borrowers, particularly our younger borrowers, have grown up in that generation where they have everything instantaneously. And when they submit a draw, a lot of them want that money the same day, or if not the next day at the very latest.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the services that we offer to our borrowers, one of the reasons why they come back to us is because we can provide that. Well, we can provide that because we have that technology that shows us and verifies that the work that they've done is completed and where it was done and how it was done. Versus, in the old days, you would have had to send somebody out there to look at
Right.
the property, and
Right.
that's a week process, not a day process.
Yes.
So it really does help us to avoid those pitfalls of, well, just send me your photos and not knowing whether or not it's actually the property, or did these cabinets, were they really for this property or were they for one down the street, that sort of thing. So
Yeah, I like the way he refers to, next day. We're Amazon culture. We want stuff done now,
Delivered same
immediately.
day?
Yesterday,
Yep.
actually,
Yep.
we want it delivered. So I think that's a big part of it. The other piece that comes to mind that he didn't mention for me is just predictive modeling, that we use it as much as we can to just try to make our business better all the time. So we're using AI to even say, hey, what are we doing here that we could do better? You know, what's ways that we can improve, and what's ways that we can predict problems ahead of time. So we use it for, like he mentioned, you know, looking at backgrounds of our borrowers.
Yeah.
We use it for our own internal metrics where we're looking at, you know, our own accounting. How can we improve our accounting? How, you know, how can we streamline things and make things faster? How can we anticipate where we're going to be short of money for, you know, this market or whatever, you know, just different ways that we can then match up borrowers to investors and things like that. So it's all just amazing the way that technology helps us improve all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it really allows us to do quality due diligence without sacrificing time on the deal, which is what our borrowers are demanding.
It's amazing. It's just a benefit for everybody.
Yeah.